Okay, so hello everyone and welcome to lecture 3 of business communication. In this lecture, we are going to learn different types of messages. For example, how to write a negative message, a positive message, or a neutral message. And in this first part of the lecture, we are going to learn how to write a routine request. So what is routine request? A routine request is a request that you make really frequently, for example, on a daily basis. Asking for information or asking someone to take some action. All right. So, for example, you want to ask your teacher information about the public speaking contest. All right. This is an example of a routine request. And how should you write it? Remember last time we talked about 3 steps of the writing process: planning, writing, and completing. And before we proceed to how to write a routine request, I want to remind you some notes about planning. Okay, so planning is the first step and also the most important one in the whole writing process, and it should take about 50% of your time, remember? Right? So in this context, first, you need to analyze the situation. So the purpose here is definitely to ask for information, but you also need to think a bit about your audience. So in this situation, your audience is your teacher. So what is your teacher's expectations and preferences? Like we teachers expect students to write messages professionally and politely, right? So in case you write a message, for example, an email without a subject or use very informal words and informal style in your email, then we will be displeased and may even not reply to your message. All right. Then what about the audience reactions? So generally, in this case, the teacher's reaction will be willing and ready to answer your questions and support you, right? So we can say that we have quite positive reaction in this case. Next, before you write your message, you need to gather information. For example, all available information about the public speaking contest. You can get those information from the subject outline or from the teacher's instructions in previous lectures or tutorials. And you can also need to check and ask from your friends other information as well. So after you gather all the information and you still have questions, then you should write a message to ask that question. But if you ask a question that is already in the course outline or already available somewhere, maybe the teacher will not answer your message. All right. So gathering information is always really important in the whole writing process. And in this case, using formal email may be the most appropriate channel to send the message. And don't forget to use your HANU student email, which helps us to identify you easily as a student and also more professionally. And in this case, because the audience reaction will be positive, then we should choose the direct approach. Okay, so here are some notes about planning. Then now we come to the writing strategy of routine request. So to write a routine request, we have 3 parts. The first part, opening, we state the request or the main idea first and write away. In the body, we give necessary details, for example, explaining and justifying your request. And in the close, we close with a cordial request for specific action. So now let's have a look at one example. Alright, so coming back to the example of asking information about the public speaking contest. We already talked about 3 parts of the message. Now let's have a look at how these 3 parts are applied in the message. Okay, you open the message with a greeting, dear Miss Hang Moon. Okay, and the first sentence, I am writing to ask more information about the public speaking contest. So this is the opening, and the opening state the request or main idea first and write away. Then you give more necessary details. My name is Ha-Anh Tuấn, a student in tutorial 2, and I am highly interested in the public speaking contest. I believe it will be a great opportunity for us to practice our skills and develop our confidence. So in these two sentences, you give more information about who you are and why you're interested in the public speaking contest. Okay? And then we have a close with a specific action. Therefore, could you please let me know the deadline for registering for the public speaking contest? I look forward to your reply as soon as possible so that I can prepare effectively for it. Okay, so this is the close, all right? And then after, you show your gratitude by saying, thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. And close, best regards, anh Tuấn. Okay, so you can see that this message already have all the three parts together with some complementary parts to support your writing. Okay, and I want to remind you that during the message, and especially at the end, you should always show your politeness and gratitude. For example, in this message, we already used the word and phrase like, could you please, okay, thank you, okay, and I really appreciate it. Okay, so these are the words and phrases that you will frequently use in all the messages you send. All right, and also remember to clearly state any important deadlines. For example, in this message, we stated as soon as possible. All right, but in other messages, you may state the date like March 20th, 2020, or within 1 week. Okay, to make sure that the receiver knows what they need to do and when they need to do it. All right, clear now? Okay, so coming back to the slide. So again, let's have a look at the checklist for routine requests. So basically, the checklist for routine requests comes again with the opening of stating your request up front. Okay, the body would explain and justify your request, and the close with request specific action in a cautious close. All right. And we have three common types of routine requests. As you can see, we already discussed about asking for information and action. We also have asking for recommendations or making claims and requesting adjustments. But for all these types of routine requests, we still follow the same strategy of stating the request or main idea first, give necessary details, and close with a request for specific action. All right. So now let's have a practice. Okay. For example, you're applying for a job or a scholarship, and it requires you to have a letter of recommendation, and you want to request your teacher to write a recommendation letter for you. Okay. So please practice writing an email to your teacher to request that letter, that information. Okay, so please comment your writing below in the comment box and let me know if there is any question or concern about this part of the lecture. Alright, thank you again for listening, and see you in the next lectures. Bye bye.